Who here remembers the name of the very first robot they ever saw? Don't everyone talk at once. Dolores, do we have anyone online raising their hand?
Not yet.
Okay. Edgar.
First robot,
Yes.
Arturito.
Oh, beautiful.
R2D2.
Oh, I'm so glad that you said that because that was one of the first robots that I actually ever saw. And whether it was robots in film, robots in science fiction, from a very young age, I became fascinated with this idea of what is consciousness? Where does intelligence come from? Can it be imbued into an inanimate object? And actually, more recently, here at our very own UT's Texas Immersive Institute, I actually played a humanoid robot builder. So exploring, what it would be like to actually be a robot. And that same year in 2022, I was brought on board at a top 5 AI and robotics firm that I cannot name to actually work on over 10 different products that have since gone to market. And on a daily basis, I was giving my own ideas, my own original data in training, tuning, and testing these very complicated and hugely powerful systems that will be around and have forever changed our society going forward. And you start to get this sense of cognitive dissonance. And I found myself wondering, what is the line between a human and a machine? And enter internship. It just so happens that right here at the Scalable Computational Intelligence Group, they have actually deployed an AI system. It functions as a teaching assistant for a professor at UT. So these very questions of, what is the line between robot and human? There are lots of different ways that robots collaborate in a positive way with people. The AI system that this particular teaching assistant is based on, it's called HPC GPT, by the way. It is based on what's called a RAG. And please don't destroy your eyesight trying to focus on all these little characters here. I will run through this high level and then I'll walk through it a little bit more detail. But a RAG stands for a retrieval augmented generation system, okay? And for simplicity's sake, we're going to focus on not a multimodal RAG, but a text-based RAG. So first what happens, a lot of us have done this, the user puts their query in, it goes through the RAG, beep, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop, and then out comes the response from the system, okay? So RAG. You start with and I'm grossly oversimplifying, but for time purposes, the generator is a model that passes over a text repository and parses out pieces of the text that we call tokens. And it learns and memorizes the relationships between these tokens. It's really incredible. Such that when the user puts their query in and the retriever pulls up what it perceives to be relevant documents, it together with the generator delivers a more relevant response. And I thought, okay, well, I did phase 1, let's just skip over that. I will just, refresh on some data science and refresh on my Python, and I'll be able to build one of these things, right? That is so cute, Chris. I love that for you, but let's go back to phase 1, where we actually learned some fundamentals. So my very first project was, on the surface, very simple. Here is an existing RAG tutorial online. It's proven to work. Just reproduce it, run it on an HPC, and document your experience. Because back to the point of a teaching assistant, my documentation could conceivably be used as a tutorial for a future intern or a future attendee of the Machine Learning Institute. Well, what I found very quickly is that there's more to building a RAG than just code. And I won't go down to all this granularity that I've captured here for you, but suffice it to say, it's an interconnected network of libraries, frameworks like LangChain, how to tunnel into the HPCs, where, how to get the Python file to interact with all these frameworks that change on a daily basis, by the way. So my main takeaway, dependencies. My mentoring team took pity on me and thought, okay, how can we get Chris to move the ball forward and actually run one of these successfully? So my mentor, Sky Lee, shout out to Sky, actually built a tutorial custom for me. And she put some Easter eggs in there to force me to uncover different angles of, you know, how the RAG works. And by golly, I was able to run it on Frontera. I was able to tune hyperparameters and change the output and see how that affected the output. And I was able to start documenting. So in phase one, you know, next step could be continuing to document that tutorial. It could be making some live edits to HPC GPT, or time permitting, moving to phase two of actually building a RAG on my own. And I've certainly learned a lot, as you can hear from my talk. But one of my favorite things about this opportunity is experiencing the culture that is TAC, of discovery and collaboration. It's been a true honor to receive the brilliance and creativity of so many people here at TAC, and that includes both my cohort's colleagues. So here I am midway through this internship, and I'm taking a pause and I'm thinking, you know, how these original questions that have driven me throughout my career, what is consciousness? Where does intelligence come from? And coincidentally, I just made these changes over the weekend. We heard about the NVIDIA release last week. There's now a humanoid open foundation model. There is now, thanks to MIT, potentially an artificial muscle cell that can give robots more natural movements. And I was starting to think about one of my questions again, you know, what is consciousness? And I came across this paper talking about artificial general intelligence, which according to a recent New York Times article may come to fruition within 3 to 6 months, and that it actually has underpinnings in the eugenics movement. I would say, prior to last week, that I think I'm still human, but clearly with recent advances, the lines between human and machine have forever been blurred. My question goes back to what I was learning as I was training these powerful systems for that AI and robotics firm that I will carry forth and I would pose to you as well. And that is, in guiding our work with AI, are we humane? Thank you so much to my triple threat mentoring team, Juliana, Sky, Luke. It's been a true pleasure. Anyone, all comments and feedback are welcome on my GitHub. Hope I made this QR code big enough, maybe for folks way out in the parking lot. So if you wish, you're also welcome to Slack me